We will not know that until maybe once this whole pandemic of bee murder is over. How can the DPI ensure that the collateral damage caused from killing and poisoning all these bees will be less than if we just let the varroa mite coexist with the European bees? It takes 2 years to destroy an untreated hive for these guys. They believe that, eradicating this mite's going to save an absolute ton of money and it's going to be the best thing ever. But it's simply not. They're wasting a shit ton of money and they're using your money and they're destroying our food industry while doing it. The better option would be treating and letting the mite coexist with the bees, not letting it spread like rapid, which everyone's like, why would you want varroa mite here? Why would you want it spreading? I never said that. What the hell are you on? For real, I don't want it here. But killing all the bees is just stupid when we can test it and keep it isolated. Now onto the varroa section. There is less harmful and more natural ways to get rid of the varroa mite. Why have the DPI not implemented those in the last 10 months? Basically been 12 months now, and that's a good question. And it's because they believe they can still eradicate it 30,000 hives later. How rapidly does the varroa mite spread from hive to hive in New South Wales? They won't tell you. Yep, they said we can't tell you that. So I'm being honest when I say a lot of these questions we got here with, we can't disclose that information, or go and look for that online. Like they try to run us around the block for the first hour of the meeting, and then the last hour and a half, we finally got a fair bit of our questions answered. Not crap ton, but we got, a handful of them answered. Does the climate and heat in Australia make us more resistant to this mite than other countries? Well, yes, it does, especially in some parts of Australia where the days can easily skyrocket over 38 degrees because these mites only thrive around that 28 to 32 degrees. After it hits over 35 into the 40s, they can't last more than a couple hours. And your normal beehives sit at 35 degrees Celsius on the inside at all times. So it's already not ideal for them. But once they attach to a bee and they go outside and it's 40 degrees out, they're going to fall off, they're going to die after a couple of hours, especially when you're looking at 43 degrees, it doesn't even take that long to kill these mites. So you look at different methods, they're actually putting bee boxes in heat chambers to kill off the mites as a different method, which is actually really interesting. Has Australia previously had an incursion of this varroa mite, and what was the case with that? Well, basically, yes, we've had 3 in Townsville and 1 in Victoria. So we've had 4 incursions that I definitely know of and a couple of other ones people have told me of, but I can't find any more information on. So we've had a lot of incursions in the last 1,000 years, and I highly doubt this one, if they do successfully eradicate it, is going to be the last incursion either. Now, they successfully eradicated this mite back in the day because it didn't even hit mainland. They basically caught it in the sentinel hives, and that was it. They stopped it from spreading out. Was estimated loss of bees if the DPI do not successfully eradicate this varroa mite? Well, guess what? It is absolutely tons and tons and tons, because they've already hit 30,000 hives, 30,000 beehives. Literally, you can have anywhere between 60 to 80,000, if not more, bees in a beehive. That's a lot of bees. That's a lot of animals. 60 to 80,000, they're just going along and pouring petrol into these poor things. Yeah, you can have some smaller hives with 30 or 40,000 in them, but you can also have some really large hives with 110,000 bees in them. You can have multiple supers stacked on top of them. So the death rate is absolutely going to be devastational, already is devastational. And since they have no plan to stop and they're killing hundreds and hundreds of hives each day like it's just fun for them, we're going to be really screwed here. Does the DPI and Australian government have plans to start using the sniffer dogs again at the ports? They were the ones that were supposed to pick up this varroa mite and that didn't successfully pick it up. And when we were in the meeting, they said no, they do not have plans at the moment to bring the dogs back into use. Is there suspicion of any faulty play when it comes to the introduction of varroa mite? Well, they simply said, we can't tell you that. It's an investigation. We still can't tell you that. Can't tell you anything about it. Now, what they've been trying to tell people is it originally started at Sentinel Hives in Newcastle, where they discovered it. But we've actually found out a lot more to the story, and it doesn't seem like they're being 100% honest with the population of Australia. They're hiding a lot of facts, and they're hiding a lot of evidence. Almost like this was not brought here by an accident. Is the DPI still investigating on how this mite got to Newcastle and passed through biosecurity, especially with such dramatic measures at place at all times? Yes, they are, and it's been 12 months down the track and they still haven't released anything else, and doesn't seem like they will so far. So we don't know anything about the whole situation except what they tell us, which just does not line up. Has the DPI asked or consulted with other countries that have dealt with this outbreak before? They won't tell us who they're working with, but they will tell us that they have some experts on the team that have been studying this. People have come from other countries that have studied this and that they're doing their best. But it doesn't really seem like they're taking in other methods of control from other countries, or the fact that no other country has successfully stopped the varroa mite from spreading. What haplotype is the varroa mite, and does it have the deformed wing virus? Now, we don't know what type of mite it is, but by the looks on their website, it does say 5 different mites on there. So if there is 5 different mites in Australia, then how is this the first incursion? Because it should be only one variety of mite that got here. And on top of that, they basically said, we can't give any more information now. On top of that, that's it. You know, we can't tell you what mite it is, and they have to go through every single book around the world, what mite it is and its origins. Yeah, they have to go to the physical books all around the world and try and find what mite it is to successfully find where it came from and what variety it actually is. But literally there is 5 listed on their website. It is not carrying any deformed wing virus. If you're wondering what a deformed wing virus is or any other virus, the varroa mite can carry viruses which can be deadly to the bees, more harmful than the varroa mite themselves. That's what they're more worried about, is the fact that it could carry a virus, and it is not carrying any virus. If varroa mite was left to spread, would the native bees in the state forest have a chance to finally spread out and really thrive after 2 years, when this mite starts collapsing all these untreated feral European hives? I said, and they said, well, we don't really know, but by the looks of it, yes, it's going to be, because your native bees are always fighting for that nectar and pollen from European bees. You're going to have a population increase because you're going to have the ability of these natives to spread around. Now, the problem is, when you have fipronil in the bushes everywhere, they're going to rob these hives that are dead from the feral hives and end up dying themselves. Varroa mite would collapse all the feral bees in the state forest and not wipe out the natives, but by using fipronil, it's going to wipe out both species. Now we're on to